to the program, Laguna Woods resident and realtor, Melissa Ford. Thanks for joining us today.
So happy to be here this morning, Michael.
Absolutely. So tell us a little about your background. You've worked in realty for quite some time. I don't want to date you, right? But you're a very experienced realtor who kind of knows the ins and outs, which is great for somebody who wants to, maybe use you in the near future.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing real estate for over 20 years, and I really love it. It's a passion of mine. I can't imagine doing anything else. It's all I've done pretty much for 20 years. So I love it, and I love it here in Laguna Woods too.
Yeah, how do you like being a resident here? Let's just step away from the realtor part about that. How do you like just being a resident here? The amenities, the services, the community?
I tell everybody that I wish I had moved here sooner. This is the most amazing place to live with all the, like you mentioned, the amenities and the things to do. I mean, I'm a member of at least a dozen clubs. I can't imagine living anywhere else ever. I mean, this is it for me.
But sometimes people do have to move out or move in, and that's where someone like you comes in. Why specifically kind of focus on working in this community? Is it because you're part of the community? You know it as you go?
Yeah, it's a very unique community where it's different than, I call it the real world. I don't know if that's a very good thing to say, but it's very different. There's a lot more to it. There's more paperwork. There's different mutuals. There's different HOAs. So it's a little bit more complicated, but what I like about it is I understand it enough to be able to help people to get through it.
And you're kind of an insider because you live here. You had to sign all that paperwork yourself. You had to accept those things. And so is it important when someone's looking for a realtor to have someone who really knows the community, knows the ins and outs, knows a little bit about the history, knows about the, here's some of the pitfalls, here's some of those things. Yeah,
it makes a really big difference here because there are a lot of things that people, outside realtors don't know about. There's a lot of paperwork here. There's HOA approvals, there are inspections, there's all kinds of things that other agents don't know about. So it's always very beneficial to have somebody that lives here and works here and enjoys it here.
Right, and whether you're live in one of the high rises or the manors, there's different ways you can do things to your property. Oh, I'm going to tear out all these trees. I'm going to plant this, and you hold. Put the brakes on there. There's going to be some codes and covenants you need to understand and do, right?
Yeah, the HOA is they're here to protect the community. So it's not like just pull something out and put something else in the ground. You need to know what you can put in there because it's not just you, it's about everybody around you as well.
So what are the things that maybe someone first contacts you, let's say a buyer, what are some of the first things you kind of go over about, well, when you move into this community, here's what you should know, here's what you should be aware of?
If they were referred by somebody that lives here, they probably know a little bit about it, which makes it a little bit easier. But oftentimes I have people from out of state. I've had people from Arizona, from Northern California, even from the East Coast, and they know nothing. So what I do is I bring them to the office and we talk about what are some of the differences, what have they experienced in the past, and then show them what some of the things that might be different here. There's a lot to understand, and one of my favorite parts is doing the tour. I find out what they want. Are they into golf? Are they into tennis? Are they into sewing or wood chopping? And then I will take them, give them a tour and let them see, well, here's an area that if you really like the idea of golf, this is where a lot of golfers live. There's a different feel for different parts of the village, and it's kind of nice to be, it's very nice to be able to put them in the type of environment that they're looking for.
And if someone comes to you and say, hey, we're maybe not immediately we're thinking about selling, but we're thinking about selling, what are some of the things you might advise them to do? Okay, well, if you're thinking about selling, here's what you want to do around your property, here's what you want to do. Are there things like that people should know about before they move?
You're talking about moving into the village or in the village and moving someplace else in the village?
Pick one.
Well, if they're just coming to explore to see if they want to do the village, I would absolutely want them to take some information with them because there's a lot to know. We've got a great website, the Laguna Woods website, that gives information on it, the 17-minute tour. But it's important to know that there are asset requirements, there's income requirements, things like that. So I definitely want them to feel informed to make sure that they're moving in the right direction for them because this isn't a fit for everybody.
Right. Okay, so now if I'm a seller, I'm living here and I say, hey, I need you, Melissa, we're going to think about selling. What are some of the things we should do before we put that sign in the front lawn?
Meet with a local agent first. Because the local agent knows what's going on with the community, knows what's going on with the real estate. It's really important to get some input on what do you need to do to your home to get the best price for it. Does it need paint? Does it need carpet? Maybe just putting on hardware on the kitchen cabinets can make a difference. So there's all types of things to know.
Right.
And a real estate agent that lives here and knows it is certainly going to be very helpful for them.
Right, and there's that curb appeal, you know. It's a little spruce up can really make a difference if you're walking up and saying, oh, it looks a little thing here, or that doesn't look like the lawn's been kept up, even though that's just a simple mow, but it can really make that first impression, right?
Yeah, I was working on a property recently that had, the woman had lived there until she was 104. And it had been, it hadn't been, what am I trying to say? It hadn't been fixed up to sell.
Right.
So we put about 20, the owner put about 20 grand into it, and it increased the value by much more than what they put into it.
You don't want to have that really looks lived in look. You want to have a kind of a fresh, like kind of a look to a home when you walk in there, like anybody can move in today kind of feel.
Yeah, it felt very bright and cheerful and happy versus before it had darker walls and darker carpet. So yeah, there's a lot of little touches that you can do to make a big difference for how it shows.
That's great. Do people move from one place to the other within the village a lot? Is that something that happens and people come to you for? Like I'm in the Manors, or I want to move here, I want to go wherever it might be?
Yeah, I have seen that quite often. I just did one in December. It was a client that was in a one-bedroom. He decided he wanted a two-bedroom, so we found him a two-bedroom. Okay. I've had clients that have said, well, you know, I live in this part of the village, but I really prefer to be closer to golf because that's my passion now. So we'll move it around. But there's requirements for that too. So again, you need to have a real estate agent that knows all the ins and outs of the HOA to do that, because there are asset and income requirements for that as well.
What's some things that people don't, like you say, income and assets kind of thing, what's something people don't realize about their home as an asset or in terms of its value?
Well, people live in their home and it's perfect for them. But when you're selling it, it's not necessarily going to be perfect for somebody else.
Right.
So we need to get rid of a lot of the personal things. You might love the color orange for your walls, but that's not going to sell very well. So I would recommend painting those white.
Right.
Maybe the kitchen needs a little spruce up. Whatever it is, that's why I go in and take a look and go, hey, I can help you get a little bit more money if you're willing to do this, this, or this.
And when people get emotional about their homes, and I don't, and that's something a realtor has to deal with, right? Because they think, well, I think it's worth this, and you have to kind of, help them understand. Here are the comps in the neighborhood. You have to kind of bring them back to reality. How do you manage that when you have somebody who just thinks this is the most amazing place and it should be going for millions?
Well, that's when our therapy training comes in. It's trying to get people very real. Absolutely, there's an emotional attachment to home.
Sure.
But there are things that can be done, and we just work very carefully with them. It's not, you need to do this in order to get that. It's, well, let's talk about what would you be willing to do, how much money would you be willing to spend, would you be willing to do this or that? So it's a conversation, and it does take a little while to get them. And of course the comps help too.
Right.
But after maybe a certain period of time, it's like, okay, let's have another talk because it hasn't sold yet.
Right.
And this is why you want to sell it. So let's talk about maybe reducing the price or maybe updating a little bit on the inside. Whatever needs to be done to move them forward.
And you'll do what in the end, the customer's always right kind of a thing. It's like, if this is the price you want, I'll do it. But then we're gonna have to sit back down and say, that wasn't very realistic or whatever that is. So you don't want to be doing that. That's why it's the advice of a professional is so helpful in those worlds. When it comes to being in a community and kind of learning about that community, how important it is for somebody to be able to trust their realtor when they sit down with them and know them.
Well, here that's key because there are so many moving parts to this. It's not just put in an offer, get a contract, and buy it. There's a lot of moving parts. A lot of the HOAs involved, a lot of the sellers involved, the buyers involved. It's just different.
Yeah.
And it's really important to have somebody that knows the rules, the regulations, because they are changing.
Right.
They are changing constantly. So you need somebody that really knows what's going on at that time.
And you have lived here. It's also a little bit personal for you. You want to do the best for your community because you're part of this community, right? So you
absolutely.
When you, it's not just a fiduciary responsibility to do the best for your client, but you're also like, hey, I want the best for I want the best people in here. I want great, happy home buyers and sellers.
Yeah, it is. And people tell me that because I live here, I love it here, they know it, and they tell me all the time, obviously you love it here, tell me more. Why do you love it so much? So yeah, I'm sold on it, and when I believe in it and I understand it and I love it, it's easy to convey that.
All right. Melissa Fort, she's a believer. She's a realtor here in the community. The phone number and website are on the screen. Contact her. Thank you very much, Melissa.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.